Hey everyone, welcome back. Actually, this is the first series. For today, we are doing this challenge 30 days of code. And this 30 days of code challenge is a series of challenges that helps aspiring software engineers get used to the syntax of a programming language. And for this series, we will be using this to get better at Python. And what we have over here on the page over here is the first challenge of these 30 days of code, which is the Hello World challenge. So in this case, for the first challenge, this is pretty basic and it might seem underwhelming to you, but this is a good practice to get used to some of the standard functions in Python. And in this case, to be specific for this challenge, the main takeaway of this challenge is two functions. First, we'll be using the input function, the default function input that reads in an input string from the console and assigns that to a variable. And for the second function that we're looking at, we're using the print function over here that takes in a string, and we're able to print that to the console. So to complete this challenge, we must save a line of input from stdin, which is pretty much the input, and put that into a variable. And once we're done, we'll print hello world, followed by the subsequent variable that we just read in from the console on the second line. For this challenge, the instructions are Java based, but we'll be able to use like other languages of choice. And in this case, if you wish to change the language that you're using, there is a drop down over here that allows you to use other languages. But in this case, we're using Python 3. So for this challenge, it's pretty simple. You will take in a sample input like this. We will print out hello world on the first line, and the second line that will be outputted by our Python script over here is the sample input that is read in. So that's pretty much it for this challenge. Let's get started. So as you can see on the second line, we are using the input function to read in the string input from the console. And once that is done, we assign that to a variable of type string. And once we're done, we'll print the first line as expected, which is hello world. And for the second line, we will have to print out the input string variable that we just read in on line 2. So to do that, it's pretty simple. Use the print function and pass in the input string variable like this. Once you're done, I would highly recommend you to press run code first to test if your current solution works on the test cases. And as you can see over here, it passed one test case. And if you press submit code, it will run your script with the other test cases that you need to pass to consider this challenge as completed. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope this was useful. If anything to take away from this video, you will have to pay attention to two functions that we just used. The first function is the input standard function provided by Python, and that allows us to read in a string input from the console. The second takeaway is to be comfortable with using the print function that takes in a string and we print that to the console. And that's pretty much it for this episode. If you find this useful and if you have any questions, please send us a comment or message me. And I will see you in the next episode for day 1.